The gloves are coming off. We're about to go full court press. It's time to play ball. Listen in as we tackle everything in the world of sports right now. Throw your hat in the ring at 516-572-7440. Huddle up! This is WHPC Sports Talk on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Here we go. It's Friday. It's the afternoon. You know what that means. It's Friday afternoon. That's it. That's all I got for you. That's literally it. It's 3:03. We're supposed to be doing something. I don't know where I am. People have not told me. I just woke up with the bag over my head, and all of a sudden, I'm running a radio show. What's going on?
You know what? You lost me when you said, oh, here's a nice dick. You lost me when you said, no, we're talking about the animal people. Get your head out of the gutter.
You don't know what that is, Nick.
Oh, a dick is part of the gazelle family.
Yes.
And we found it today because Eric told us that it's real. We didn't believe him, but there it is. A dick.
It's Seattle's new hockey team, apparently.
Sponsored by Starbucks and Trojan. Now, we have a great show for you today.
Yes, we do, because we're not talking about that, but we are going to be talking about, unfortunately, and I say this with a lot of love, unfortunately, the end. Stop touching your damn eye,
Stop.
Nick. My mom traumatized me when I was younger. I'll tell you at a different time.
You say it every show, though. Stop.
Stop doing it in front of me. It's so easy. Just don't do it.
My glasses are broken. I'm sorry.
Just
Go.
look the other way. Just stop. Thank you.
Yeah, just do that the rest of the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's just me with eyes. I don't know why. But, so yeah, unfortunately, the two local football teams' seasons will be ending on Sunday. And I say, unfortunately, because every time football comes around, I love it so much, even when my team is so dysfunctional. But, you know what? Football is definitely a sport, and we got to talk about it here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Eric Fischetti. Alongside me, I have Nick Ohrnberger, of course.
Doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning.
That's nice, Nick. I have Matt Charkowick.
What's going on?
Nothing much. Zach Calabrese.
What up? How are the holidays?
They were great.
Good?
Santa Claus good to you?
Of course.
Santa Claus gave the Islanders a win before the break.
Yeah,
so
that was very nice.
So that was unbelievable. And of course, Eleanor Ciampi, you're going to hear a little bit later because hockey's a thing, and we always got to talk about it when she's here, which is all the time. But that's okay because we like talking about hockey. So guys, let's get right into it because football is alive for one of us in the room, and that would be the Kansas City Chiefs, who are a playoff team right now. Now, is this a different Chiefs team that we're going to be seeing? Because, of course, if you live under a rock, if you don't watch the NFL playoffs, the Chiefs get there a lot, and they fall out very, very quickly. So, Nick, I ask you, going into the playoffs, are you excited to see the Chiefs play, or are you expecting the worst?
I'm excited to see Patrick Mahomes in meaningful playoff games, but I'm not expecting anything through and through right now. If you ask me, we just lost to the Chargers, and then we lost to the Seahawks in succession. The Seahawks, by the way, before we go further into the Chiefs, let me just tell you, Russell Wilson's on a different planet right now.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
And when Pete Carroll just got an extension, too.
When they build a team around this dude, the Seahawks are going to be right back there where they were. Maybe not with the Legion of Boom, but a Russell Wilson-based offense will work in this NFL, and he's just playing out of his mind. But back to the Chiefs. We have the Raiders this week, and the Raiders have an axe to grind. Terrible season this year. Everything that John Gruden tried to put together didn't work, or did it. We'll see after the draft. But they would love to do nothing more than spoil home field advantage for the Chiefs. I can tell you that right now. So, having said that, this is a meaningful game this week. They need to win this game, and we need the Chargers to lose because as of right now, they hold the tiebreaker. And if it goes that way and the Chargers win in any way, the playoffs are now through L.A., which is unbelievable when you think about it.
But you know what's funny about that? And you talk about the playoffs going through L.A., If it was in San Diego, it would be such a different story. The Chargers do not have home field advantage whatsoever, because whenever they play in LA, which I think is where the Galaxy plays, I wasn't even entirely sure about that when I found it out. I couldn't believe it, but then I realized, hey, according to you, Nick, people don't care about football in LA unless you're the Rams. But listen. The Chargers are not going to have home field advantage. Whoever the Chargers play come playoff time, it's going to be filled with the opposing team. I told you from the beginning, that move to L.A. was probably the dumbest move.
Really
Spanos stabbed that fan base right in the back, because if they were in San Diego, I think it's a much different story.
I agree, but you know what? They face the same issues in San Diego that the Rams... By the way, the Rams also and the Chargers are facing now in L.A. These are fair weather fans. They're there when things are good, not when things are bad. Yep. The last year my brother played football in San Diego, which I believe was 2016, I went to an Oakland Raiders game, and the place in Qualcomm was the black hole.
Is that a fair judgment, though? Because Raider fans travel very well.
They do.
You could have gone, I am convinced, and I've asked plenty of people, it could have been the Packers there. Green Bay Packers fans would have taken over that stadium. It could have been any team. The San Diego fans weren't putting enough into that team. However, the way Spanos left was always the issue. It wasn't that they left, it was how they left.
Yes, exactly.
Having said that, I look at the San Diego Chargers and think they're second-class citizens to the Rams, who are second-class citizens to the Lakers. They're not...
and the Dodgers.
That town cares about baseball and basketball. They don't care about football. They care about USC and UCLA, sure.
Yeah, sure.
But
hockey a little bit, too.
Yeah, a little hockey.
Not even.
When you went there, was it a big Kings following down there?
It was quiet.
Was it really?
It was quiet. I swear to you, because when I went, they played the Philadelphia Flyers, and it was a smackdown. I got to see John Stevens' second to last game, by the way.
That's awesome.
It was an awful game to watch. But I'm so used to it over here, where I think you can vouch, Eleanor, whenever you go to a Ranger game at the Garden or an Islander game, even at Barclays or the Coliseum, it's loud from the beginning. The Kings fans, and I don't know this for a fact, maybe even Ducks fans too, they're like quiet, and I told my cousin that, and I'm in the Staples Center, and I felt like I was the loudest person there, and I told my cousin, who's not even a hockey fan, I'm like, damn, this place stinks right now. You guys need to have something good happen on the East Coast, where hockey is like a really, really big thing. It's like everything is like so gung-ho from the beginning. I don't know, it's just a very different experience.
You know what I think has to do with that? I'm glad we're talking about this. This is more, we've fallen off the cheats a little, and I do want to get back to that, but the general nature of fans, I think it has a lot to do with where you're from.
Yeah.
LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Arizona. What do you have to complain about to go to a game and release? You know what I mean? You're living in paradises, essentially. So when you go to Philadelphia, a town that is brutally cold 8 months of the year.
Yes. But it was Titletown this year.
It was Titletown. But my point is, you've seen fans in Philly. You say what you want about fans in Philly, and I think they are the worst fans in the whole entire world.
They're really, really good fans.
They come out for their team.
They will.
They do.
Go to a Phillies game, you will see what I'm talking about. Go to an Eagles game.
Oh my God!
Even when the Sixers were bad,
they filled out.
They filled out. They sold out games like the Knicks.
I think part of it is the jobs a lot of these people have. Usually, you can tell kind of jobs that these people are carrying when you go to their town. Pittsburgh is a steel town. It still is
big time.
Green Bay is
every team in that town is black and gold. Every single team.
Yeah.
It's so universal, because my mom lives down there now, and she always talks about it. She's like, you know what's funny? In New York, you have two options of, fandoms. Giants, Jets. Yankees, Mets. Knicks, Nets, even when they were in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Islanders, Rangers, and the Devils. You have three. In Pittsburgh, it's just 1, 1, 1, and 1. It's crazy, and everything is so universally centered. Because when the Pirates were good, when they were like going into the playoffs, and it was Stanley Cup time, they were wearing Penguins jerseys outside. It was crazy. I've never seen that before.
My last point on this is, before we get back onto my last point is, you want to know why so many teams works in New York? It's because look at Long Island, how it kind of stretches, and
very
that there's
diverse.
ferry access to Connecticut and Rhode Island,
Massachusetts,
and you're so close to Jersey. It's such a broad spectrum that's all within a 2-hour radius of any stadium, give or take. When you go to California, All of those teams, with the exception of the LA teams, are very spread out. San Fran's another 3 hours away. San Jose, a long way away.
Too.
It's all spread out. Oakland. So my point is,
even the Warrior fans, even the Fairweather fans, they show out all the time too. But just careful, because the Warriors are not as good. There's something different about them.
They're not that good.
I'm not saying their reign of terror is over, but
they're going to pick it up after the All-Star break.
There's something different about them. I think they're nervous about the offseason. That's just my guess, but there's something off about them because they're not playing like
Clay's
how they
having a
play.
Low year too.
Yeah, and
Thompson
it's just him.
Yeah.
It's just him, though.
Just him. Draymond has had his up and down games this year.
But yeah, of course, everybody goes through a slump. But it seems to be just Clay, though. And once he gets going,
they're missing
in
Clay.
trouble.
They're missing Clay on offense.
Oh, of course. But just going back to your point about where you're from, I feel like in California, like you said, it's basketball and baseball. That's
pretty much
it.
When I look at California, I say there's so much to do, which takes away from teams, but the fact that they're so spread out is the problem. When you look at New York,
but yeah, there's so much to do here.
There's so much to do, but there's so many other sectors of our country that are kind of lumped in. Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, that have nothing to do.
Even Massachusetts is in striking distance.
Yeah, it's in striking distance, and obviously a lot of people in Connecticut are New England fans, but you get the point. It's more closed in, so that there's almost like New York has its own atmosphere, its own gravitational pull.
We are the melting pot for a reason.
It is true.
Even when games happen at the Garden, and I'm talking about for basketball specifically, because I think Ranger fans are really, really good fans, and whenever the Rangers play, it's like 90% Rangers, 10% anyone else that's playing. But at the Garden, it's not. To me, it's like a lot of it is tourist and very small. It's just the diehard fans. But think about it, Nick. You brought this up a while ago. You come to New York to see a show.
Yes.
And the Knicks are the Knicks sell out every single night. You're not going to see a basketball game. You're going to go see a show. And look, you try and market around the players in basketball, which I think is like whatever, because you're not really fans of the team. You're fans of the players. Like, there can't be that many Laker fans in New York. They're LeBron James fans.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Totally agree with that.
100%. And you have some LA transplants. I get it. But
there are really good Laker fans, too.
They're wonderful. Yeah, the Lakers are actually a wonderful fan base. Want to know why I like them? Their fans aren't jerks. They're really not jerks.
They're not.
They're not
They're really
whatsoever.
Nice people.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson's pretty nice.
Yeah, he is.
So is Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg.
I've seen some news reports of him going nuts, but he's Jack Nicholson.
I'm not surprised.
He was in The Shining, so of course he's nuts.
He tried to kill his wife and kid in The Shining.
That's exactly right. That's right. But back to the original point. Somehow we spiral off because it's what we do. You asked me, am I nervous for the Kansas City Chiefs? No, because I'm not. To me, these Kansas City Chiefs are the 2016 Yankees. House money. This is house money.
You mean the 17 Yankees?
No, 2016. Well, that first year with Gary Sanchez coming up, that was 2016.
Got it.
Okay.
When they
so
got
the year
the
they missed.
Right, the year they missed, they faced off against, what was it, Keuchel against the Astros?
That was 15.
I was
that
like,
was
house
2015.
money. House money. I didn't care. Honestly, 17, I really kind of considered the same way. You know what? We did not belong beyond that wild card game where Didi saved us, and we went to the ALCS. It's house money. Who cares? This I'm looking at and say, I want to see Patrick Mahomes have some success. I'd like to see some semblance of defense that I haven't seen all year. And I'd like to see Andy Reid. I'd love to just see him get one playoff win and scheme up a team up and down, and you're just like, that's an Andy Reid win, because he just knew how to...
He just needs a win. If he secures a win in Kansas City, that's basically a huge monkey off his back, because I don't think he's won a playoff game in Kansas City since he got there.
He's won playoff games, but he hasn't... I don't know. For some reason, just a wild card or divisional win, getting back to the AFC Championship or wherever he winds up, will be enough for me, because it'll just show me he's still got it. I don't need to worry about Andy Reid.
But there's a sense of me. This is me personally. Guys, jump in if you want to. There's a sense that Andy Reid can't get out of his own way come playoff time. It seems like he outcoaches himself.
He's Bill Belichick.
He's done it a few times in
Tennessee.
the last few years. Especially the bigger games that they play.
You remember that infamous Colt game in 2012 where Bill Belichick went for it on fourth down and he got no end of scrutiny for it.
Yes,
he even came back and had a press conference and says, like, well, last time I was here, I was pretty popular. You know what I mean?
But that's also Bill Belichick, one of the greatest coaches of all time, that gives you nothing.
Right, but that's when you can... That's what I'm talking about, is when you have a resume like his, you can afford to make those calls. Andy Reid needs to kind of stick to a plan, put the hand in a game-winning situation, put the ball in the hands of your best player, and let him go. Pat, it's on you. Let's go.
And you know what? It seems like the kid's been there for ages.
He just plays like such a vet.
He
really does.
Has such a bright future, and you were not high on him right away. I'm so happy that you came around, and you came around relatively quickly, which is something that yeah, but it's something that you don't normally do. You don't really come around very quickly. It takes you a little while, like I would assume Dave Fizdale.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm still not there with him, by the way.
And that just proves my point. It took you less time to get used to what Patrick Mahomes is than it is to Dave Fizdale, your favorite team out of all the teams that you like, the Knicks. It took you less time to get used to the Chiefs, which I think, is something that you don't normally do. So good for you for coming around. I think the Chiefs are going to make a lot of noise. And you said something that I 100% agree with, because like you, I think that your defense is doo-doo. And if you put the ball in the hands of your offense, which has a load of weapons, not just Mahomes, Kelsey, who I think is the best tight end in the NFL, and Sammy Watkins, when he plays healthy, I think he's a difference maker. Tyreek Hill, who I think is the most explosive player on offense this year. And you honestly don't even need Kareem Hunt. He's obviously not coming back now, but the running game can hold its own right now.
It looks fine. It's not the running game. It's not the receivers. You're right. Tight end. You know what? Right now, I'll give it to George Kittle in San Francisco because he's working with no quarterback and still had the year he had. God knows what he would have done with Jimmy G.
Next year will be fun.
Yeah, next year will be a lot of fun. But I don't know. I look at it. It's not the offense, and I don't really think it's the coach either. I think they just need to be so defensive-centric in this year's draft, and they need to make smart free agent decisions. Having said that, it's not a worry for right now. Kansas City Chiefs, first round, probably a wild card, because I really think that the Raiders have a shot in this game, and I don't see the Chargers losing for a while.
You think the Raiders have a shot?
I think the Raiders have a shot.
They look good on Christmas Eve.
It's a spoiler game, man. You play
I get it. But the Chiefs are just so heads and tails better. I mean, what are you giving the Raiders? Just the fact that Derek Carr looks good?
He looks like he's starting to return to form, and it's a spoiler game. For some reason, they're nerves. They have nothing to play for.
I don't know. I can't see that. I really can't. But I do want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
This is strictly about the defense. You remember that game, Kansas City, Baltimore, where at the end of the game it looked like Baltimore was going to make a run. Now, was that a defensive stop? Was that a good defensive game in the fourth quarter for the Chiefs?
You're talking about the game ended on an interception by Fuller, I believe, and what a game that was. You remember how excited I was about that. All I was talking about was finally we see a game that's decided by our defense, and yes, I thought that was a step in the right direction, but they have completely receded in recent weeks. It has been, and continues to be embarrassing.
And that will be the stepping stone for the Kansas City Chiefs come playoff time, because we know that they have a very good offense. I keep saying it.
They've had it the last few years.
It's the four-cylinder, it's the sexy car. That's the Chiefs' offense. But then the defense is a 1994 Honda Accord. It's serviceable. It can get you from point A to point B, but more times than not, you're going to have a lot of problems.
You know what? I know we have Dave on the line. I can't wait to talk to him about the Giants.
It's a Model T, isn't it?
No,
a Model T.
It's the beater in your dad's garage he's been working on for 15 years because he's in the middle of a midlife crisis. That's the Chiefs' defense right now.
Funny story about that. I used to live right by a guy that restored, and it's basically in mint condition, a 1955 red Chevy Bel Air. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so happy because sometimes I drive past the house to see if we still work on it. It looks so good. Man, that is my dream car. When I get rich and famous, and when you all remember my name, that's my first buy. A 1955 Chevy Bel Air red. So, we do have a call on the line. Caller, you're on WHPC Sports Talk. What's up?
My first car was a 71 Bel Air.
Oh, yeah? What color?
It was a pale blue. It tended toward rust. So
right.
It was a very reliable car. So
1971, good year.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're going to compare the KC defense, it would what do you call it? Ralph Nader wrote the book about the Corvair, unsafe at any speed.
Oh man! So David,
but I got to say, Yeah, one thing about the KC defense, though, do you realize how many Christmas cards they got from opposing quarterbacks this year?
Nick, what do you think about that?
I think he's absolutely right. Somewhere in the world, I think there's a lot of new jobs on the Chiefs. I think it might be an alternate universe, meaning like the future of this universe. There's going to be a lot of open jobs on the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, of course they're sending Christmas cards. You can literally just walk. I could walk through that defensive line.
Easy pass.
Easy pass. That's what they are. They're the easy pass lane.
And let's not forget all the other coaches that have all the film on him now, especially when you start getting to the
that's
playoffs.
true.
Oh my goodness!
I don't look at a single team in this playoff, this AFC side of the playoffs, that can't scheme well against this KCD. It is going to be a shootout. It's going to be a shootout. No matter what game it is, it's going to be a shootout.
That's why weather will play a great factor for you. Well, I shouldn't say that. With bad DBs, bad weather affects them also.
That's why I wanted an Arrowhead, because at least it affects everybody, you know.
Everybody in the pool, right?
Yeah. Yep, pretty much.
I'm just curious, with Jankowski going down last week, Janikowski, pardon me, do you think the drop kick from a punter is going to become an effective tool as far as kickoffs in the future for certain? Like, I mean, I'm sure Belichick's already exploring it, as far as the pooch punt and making the receiving team actually field the ball at about the 5-yard line.
I think that comes to a discussion of how you practice, if that makes sense, because the drop kick, I don't really see a lot other than him, and he does it very well, but he's also a different animal at that point. Mm-hmm. It depends on how you practice. If you had to ask me if I can see a lot more of it in the coming future, to me it would be no, because I feel it's just so much easier. Just leave the ball on the tee and just kick it, just status quo. Just go about your business at that point.
Because if you miss it, you're giving up on points.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
You can't leave points on the field at that point. No pun intended.
Look what the games come down to. It's like a pool match now. Kick away, let them run. Who cares? And I did bring it up just last night, and I just want to give you guys a laugh. I did come up with $1 million idea.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Fred and Jeff Wilpon pinatas.
What comes out of it? Quarters?
I love it.
Wow. Pennies.
No, pennies come out of it.
You shouldn't have said that on the air, because now someone's going to take that one. That's $1 million idea right there.
Don't worry, I will absolutely
give you this opportunity.
Get a patent
you can
right
patent
now.
I'll support it.
I will give you this opportunity.
Go page right now, and I'll do it.
I will give you this opportunity right now to trademark that.
No, it's okay. Nick's already going into his communion money for this one. So.
My God! Why is there so much attack on me?
Because you're a KC fan.
Okay, you know what? That explains it.
Yeah, we want to let you down easy. What can I tell you?
Yeah, well.
But I'll let you go.
No, don't worry. Thank God I have you to let me down easy, because I know the Kansas City Chiefs aren't going to be that gentle to me.
No, he's going to do something incredible in the fourth quarter.
My God!
And he's going to give you the look with the headset on, and you're going to go. It's like, what, me worry?
Yeah, he's going to be burying into his chins while he looks down at his
chins. Oh my God!
Wait a minute, that's not what I saw.
That's not the way it went in practice.
Not in practice. That's right. Oh man, Dave, thank you so much. Will we be hearing from you before the new year?
This is before the new year.
True. Okay, that's true. I'm talking about on Monday, man.
There is no Monday, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. There is not. See, I'm dumb.
New Year's Eve.
Why are you playing music on Monday?
No. We got I got 2 weeks off because my show happened to wind up on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve, so I got 2 weeks off.
You got to get out of jail free card.
Exactly, from lunatics like you.
Yay! No work for you.
All right, have a good one, guys.
All right, take care. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Love Dave.
Oh man, I absolutely love when he calls in. I really do. He's one of my favorite callers. Him, Richie, Mespiga, everybody. If I can remember your name, you're my favorite caller. That's just as easy as it goes. So I think we spoke enough about the Chiefs. We almost got like 25 minutes in. Jeez. All right, so let's go to something that actually matters. The Giants season is over.
Yes.
This is actually a very meaningful game for the Giants because Saquon Barkley has a chance to get into the record books. But, of course, that's the only reason why I will be watching.
Me too.
And also the other reason why I will be watching is because I'm a psychopath and I like to torture myself. I do not expect them to beat the Cowboys.
No.
But you know what? I just want the development of Barkley to continue. I want him to secure his case of him being the real deal.
Me too.
Matt, I ask you, what are your thoughts on the Giants so far? And when you look back on the season, what do you think of the season?
It's another one I wish to forget. And overall, it's just been the Barkley show predominantly all season long. I do want to see him go out with one last good game to end the year, make his case for possibly Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's definitely a guy you can put in the conversation. But overall, I just hope that going into the offseason, these guys can really reevaluate this offense.
What is your wish list for the Giants this offseason?
Overall, I'm going to say keep Shermer, give him another year.
Shermer's not going anywhere.
No, I don't
He's
want
not
him
going
to.
Anywhere.
I know
that's not even a thing.
I know there's been a lot of talk amongst fans if he should stay or not, but I ignore it.
Ridiculous.
No, I'm one of those fans who thinks he deserves another chance fully.
Look at how they've been playing.
Yeah. The last few games
after the bye week. Look at how they're playing for him.
That's the Shermer I'm expecting next year, a full clean slate, so we'll see how that goes.
Is Manning the starting quarterback?
That's been talked about a lot recently as well, and you know what? I think he deserves at least a final year. I'm one of those people.
So you want him to play out his contract?
I do.
So you expect him to start?
I expect him to start next season.
And I do too, because there are no better options.
No, there's really not.
Because think about it. Let's say, and the biggest thing over the weekend was, and this past week in general, was Justin Herbert, the Oregon. There's no longer stuck for the duck. That's not happening.
No, it's
you
not.
got to wait maybe another year because he decided to go back to school. So he was the main guy that I want the Giants to target.
Me too.
Now, honestly, it's the Dwayne Haskins show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you pick up Haskins or Herbert, if he declared, they're not going to play.
No,
Manning is still going to play. That's the thing that people don't understand. You can draft a quarterback this year in the first round. He's not going to play because Manning gives you the best chance to win games.
Yes, he does.
And I've been, this whole time, I hate losing. I don't want them to lose. I'd rather you put up 60 and lose 61-60. That's my mindset. I don't want my team to lay down and die. That's not what I'm watching. And it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That would leave a bad taste in a lot of players' mouth.
Especially against the Cowboys.
Culture. Have a winning culture. That's
all the Giants have had. Yeah.
But that's the thing that really irks me. Oh, just play to lose. Why would you do that? If you were my coach, I would want to get traded or released. That's not what I want to play for. I want to play for somebody that thinks that we can make some noise. I'd rather play for someone, even if he knows that we're bad, to just play hard for him. Yeah. That's the kind of guy that I want to play for. Now, speaking of that, there's nothing to do with what I'm going to say next. We do have a call on the line. Call you on WHPC Sports Talk. What's up?
There's nothing more that annoys me when people say, give up, tank the season. That really irks me so much.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Richie. What's going on?
Nothing. Eli Manning, I think you should keep him because there's no other option. That's it. Just keep him for his final year.
100% agree.
100.
And okay, now Barkley, and he's only 125 yards for 2,000 yards. Is that incredible or what?
That's amazing.
That's amazing, and he would be in conversations with Eric Dickerson as a rookie. Now, don't get me wrong. If Barkley doesn't achieve that height, I'm not going to be upset. This was an incredible season.
More than what we were expecting.
Just for him. I didn't expect the Giants to be a playoff team this year.
No,
but I was excited for Barkley. I was extremely excited for Barkley, and you know what? I am under the impression now, as I'm looking back on the season, I think he was the right pick.
Now, hold on. Before we get into who was the right pick or the wrong pick, if you had to choose anybody else besides Saquon Barkley, Richie, you're a Giants fan. Eric, you're a Giants fan. I'm assuming you're a Giants fan, right? Sorry. You're a Jets fan, right, Zach?
Jets.
You're a Jets. But if
Sorry
you had to pick any other rookie this year, who's the other rookie that you'd say is Rookie of the Year?
Baker Mayfield.
Perfect.
Yeah, me too.
It's got to be Baker. But look at the difference. If Saquon Barkley is going to hit 2,000 yards from a running back, that is unheard of. Unheard of.
With a very subpar offensive line.
Now, people are going to make the argument, and you're all going to start hearing it. Oh, well, Baker turned his team around. They're up to 7 wins because when he took over. Great argument.
They're right.
That's a perfect, valid argument. I understand that.
It is. It's a perfect argument if we were talking about the MVP.
He votes for Cleveland, though.
We're talking about the Offensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Simple. For rookie, the offensive player of the year, I think, has to go to, to rookie of the year. Sorry, rookie of the year, which goes to the best offensive stats for a rookie in the NFL. That's that's Saquon Barkley. Easy, hands down, done.
And the thing that goes against Baker Mayfield, which I don't think is fair, because look at what he's done when he has been starting.
Right.
He didn't play enough games.
He didn't play nearly enough games, and that's not his fault.
No, it's not.
But it still happened.
Yeah, it still happened. It's not in spite of him. He's an outstanding player to watch.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
it's also not fair to bring up that argument, because look at what he did when he did play. There are times where Barkley did nothing, like last week's Tennessee game. 2 weeks ago, excuse me. Last week Colts game.
The difference is the consistency. We've seen games where Baker Mayfield, 2 games where he's scored under 2 touchdowns and less than 200 yards. That's not a rookie of the year. I'm sorry, it's just not.
No.
Saquon Barkley has done it game after game after game.
These new quarterbacks now are not in a pocket. They're like running all over the place. You go from side to side.
That's the NFL now.
Timers.
Yeah, that's pretty much the NFL. That's why a lot of Giants fans are screaming to get rid of Eli, and I don't agree with that. And this is not me saying it like, listen, I'm the biggest Eli Manning fan that you'll find. I grew up with him. He's my favorite quarterback on my favorite team. What else could I want? But there's going to come a point in time where you're going to have to move on from him, and it's going to hurt. It
should have happened already.
Maybe. A lot of people will argue that, but you know what? To the Eli Manning lovers out there, they got their wish. Eli Manning's still the quarterback of the Giants. He might finish out his career with the Giants. That's all well and good. I think that and I keep saying this, if there's the slightest thought that he might get cut, I think he's going to retire. Because at this point right now, I don't know if the Giants are close to winning. I would say probably not.
Not for at least 2-3 years.
I think the thing that was really important to him is finishing his career with one team.
Yeah. And did you see at the beginning of the year, Hurley was picked to win the rushing title?
Who was?
Hurley.
Hurley was picked?
Gurley.
Curly, yeah.
Okay.
He was picked 9-2. They was picked
I remember those talks.
to win the rushing title.
I mean, Todd Gurley's incredible. He's one of the reasons why the Rams are so good.
And it makes sense, too, because his rushing yards, if you look at the numbers, Todd Gurley's a better rusher. What Saquon Barkley brings to the table is the fact that he's a fantastic receiver, especially in space. Because you find me the defensive back in space that's going to bring him down. He doesn't exist.
He's a matchup nightmare. I think back to that game in Carolina where they scored 30 points for the first time in a while.
He's the Gronkowski of running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you guys familiar with Suffolk County at all?
What happened?
Are you familiar with Suffolk County?
I'm familiar of Suffolk County.
I live there.
Yes.
West Hampton Beach. Okay.
West Hampton. Okay.
We're Cupshaw beaches. You know what that is?
Yes, I do.
I don't, but Nick does.
Okay. Eli Manning just bought a house over there last summer.
I do remember that.
Yes, I remember.
I do remember that.
Papers, yes.
Yeah, my friend sees him all the time walking around. He says he's a really nice guy.
I
believe that fully.
I believe it, but unfortunately, being a nice guy isn't going to save you from possibly getting traded or cut. The only thing that saves Eli Manning right now is the fact that he has success against one of the best quarterback coaches combos of all time. But it's also a business of what have you done for me lately? And unfortunately, without help from the offensive line, Eli Manning is nothing. And it stinks.
Do you see Eli Manning trying to take maybe a Josh McCown role next season? Let's say they do take a Dwayne Haskins or Will Greer, or just one of those guys.
I like Will Greer too.
Yeah,
he's
if they take one of those guys,
what's the name that guy got from New England? Solters? What's his name? The offensive line.
Solder. Nate Solder.
I would cut him tomorrow.
Why?
Why? It's not Nate Solder's fault here.
He had an injury. He didn't tell nobody.
When did he have an injury?
When was this?
They said he had an injury. I read down the paper he had an injury.
Are you sure? I didn't hear anything
I don't
about
remember
that.
him getting injured.
I think
Was it the shoulder? Because he's had a history of shoulder problems. They knew that before they signed him.
And it's also, that's not Nate Solder's fault that the offensive line was absolutely garbage. You heard nothing about the left side, which was Solder Hernandez, which I think is going to be great next year.
I think it's going to be very good.
Let me tell you something. I'm glad they got little flowers. Oh, my God.
Me too.
You and everyone else.
Christmas came early at that point. And I'm Jewish and Catholic, so Christmas and Hanukkah came early. and of course, you got to remember, they cut Patrick Omameh, who they signed to a 3-year deal at that point, and that screamed accountability to me by Dave Gettleman. I trust this front office now for the first time, maybe since the year after they won the Super Bowl. It's been a while.
I just want to bring up one point before I leave.
Okay.
What are we going to do with the Knicks now?
Oh God!
Play it out.
I'll tell you what.
We keep waiting.
We just had a back-to-back against the Bucks. The first installment of which was actually pretty good. If you watched,
it was a fun Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, it wasn't terrible.
They kept it close.
Knicks
for most
have
of the
a good
game,
record on Christmas Day. They keep games interesting.
But this is
losing.
what they do, though. They're in the game for 3 quarters. They get blown out in the 4th. And by the way, they're going up against. And I know it's cliche to use the name, but he's a freak.
No, he really is.
Freak.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Did you watch the Knicks Bucks yesterday?
Yes.
That was a BS ejection from Canner.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. Terrible call.
He got interviewed after the game. He didn't know he got ejected.
He didn't know.
Idea.
It's ridiculous. The NBA is so soft, and I feel like Giannis never gets any calls.
Never.
He doesn't.
Giannis
He never
is a
does.
cheap shot artist. People don't realize this. Watch Giannis Antetokounmpo play for more
I've
than
seen
one game.
more than
You'll
enough
see so
with that.
many cheap shots from him that he's so good at eyeing
Hiding
a
it.
referee's eyes. So he knows when to take shots at people.
Because he's the nice guy. That's why.
He is the nice guy.
Now, could you imagine now if the Nets make the playoffs and the Knicks don't?
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Richie, I said it before the season started. They got ripped apart by Jacob Volk when he was still here. I said I think the Nets have a shot at the 8th seed.
I think
still
they do. I really do. They have a
Maybe
strong
better
case.
with the way they're playing.
Maybe a 7th seed even.
I truly think they're going to be buyers.
Take care, Richie.
All right, Richie. Thank you. Happy New Year. I think he hung up. Yep, he hung up.
What an aggravating game yesterday.
Oh my God,
that was terrible.
See,
and I hate when the announcers for the Knicks are so centric. They're like, well, every guy on this team really fought for this one. Like, shut up.
No, they're
shut
terrible.
up. At some point, win a game.
I
I
hate the MSG broadcast for the Knicks.
I mean, look, I think they're trying to make light of a very bad situation. Just tell it how it is.
They really should.
Knicks fans have now.
I think they know what's going on. They still have to be optimistic through all that, which is the problem.
They're all so complacent. What do you think? This team's going to magically do the right thing after 15 years of bad decisions?
But I think they're on their way.
This is a building block season.
Fizdale, Perry, Mills was the right start. They're heading in the right direction. They're developing the young players. Kevin Knox is unbelievable right now.
I feel like you're going to have to talk me off a freaking cliff because this...
About what?
About the Knicks. Look, I like Fizdale so far. I thought he's been good, but at some point, I'm tired of talking about how good this team fights for a win and they never give up. Win a game!
That's the only bright spot, though. You have to realize that this team is bad. And I know you and I had this conversation. The Giants to me are the Knicks to you. I hate losing, so do you.
Yeah.
The only difference between the Giants and the Knicks, 16 to 82. That's how many games there are in the season. Knicks are going to be bad. All right?
112 last night.
Yes.
112 to 96. And they're talking about how hard the team fought? Stop it.
No, they're looking at the score. They're not looking at what actually happened. There was a time where they were close. Luke Cornett looked like John Starks.
Wow, what a game last night, by the way.
Do you remember when the Knicks fans were screaming, how do you cut Ron Baker for Luke Cornett? Easy. Just like that. Because don't get me wrong, I like Baker a lot.
He's a big man who can shoot threes. That's what it comes down to.
He's a stretch 5 or stretch 4, whatever it is. But listen, at the time, I like Ron Baker. I tease because I care. I do too.
We all miss him.
But you know what? It was the right move. It's a business move. He found a spot. That's the thing we're not talking about. Baker found a spot in D.C., who is also dysfunctional for some reason. I don't know how that happened. Oh, yeah, I do. John Wall. But easy. Very easy. But we digress. Let's go back to football really quick. We spoke about the Giants. Let's go, Mr. Zach, to the New York Jets.
Let's hear the Jets. Yeah, I mean, Sunday was nice. I mean, because it was the best possible outcome of a Jet game that I wanted to watch.
You belong in L.A. You know that? Sunday was nice, dude.
Sunday was so nice, man.
It was amazing. Come on. Darnold plays good.
He did.
They put up a lot of points, but they still lose. So for the draft pick, and I love it because this doesn't even matter anymore. It's all about the off season now. That's the real season this year. We knew 4 games in what was going to happen with the Jets, and now we're here, and now they really need to start, and they need to start getting. They need to think about a coach, and they need to think about building around the offense. That's the 2 biggest things.
Think offense when it comes to coaches for the Jets.
If you're in the market for a coach, which it certainly seems that you will be, who is your first choice?
I think they should look at... I don't know if he is my first choice, but I wasn't on his train before. But now, as I'm starting to think about it, I think Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley, he could be a good idea.
I heard him linked on the Browns because of Mayfield.
That would be most likely. That would be most likely. But the Jets should definitely be in there for him.
Yeah, but you know what? I think Riley. I don't know.
The problem is taking someone from college is always going to be an issue because you don't know how it's going to, how he's going to transfer over from the college to the NFL. So I think if they do want to stay in the NFL, they should be looking at LaFleur from Tennessee.
Okay.
They should be looking at the guy from Kansas City. What's his name? Eric.
I can't pronounce his name. Bjornman.
Bienme or something.
Which one? The offensive coordinator.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator. Whatever his name.
I always forget how to pronounce his name. I'll tell you right now. I always embarrass myself
forgetting.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I can't say it right.
I'm surprised you didn't say Mike McCarthy yet.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if I'm on the Mike McCarthy train because I've seen things about Mike McCarthy. I've seen people talking about it, but I'd rather get one of these offense coordinator either from Tennessee and also the guy from Minnesota,
John DeFilippo.
Yeah, DeFilippo.
He's jobless
right now. Yeah, exactly. So.
It's weird.
They should definitely start to look at. I would be happy with any one of those guys, honestly.
See, now I heard a couple of things, not just from Jets fans, but from football fans in general. John DeFilippo was a guru talking to Carson Wentz and Nick Foles because he was the quarterback's coach.
Right.
He got a promotion to be the offensive coordinator. He did not do very well due to the fact that now he is jobless. Are you worried about that in the sense of, wow, he couldn't handle an offensive coordinator job? What makes you think he could handle a head coaching job?
I mean, it's definitely something to worry about, but then again, I think all these guys that you're looking at, there's going to be a 50-50 chance on whether these guys succeed. So maybe I don't know what was going on in Minnesota. Minnesota definitely should have been better.
Minnesota was very underwhelming
this year. They should have.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be one of the best teams in the NFC, but
then the Bears added Mac.
They clearly did not. Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
As soon as I got Mac, the first thing I said was rip Aaron Rodgers. That was the first thing I said.
That is what you said. He texted it to me.
Goodbye, Aaron Rodgers.
R.I.P. Aaron Rodgers. And the first thing didn't they have a game against the Packers that week or the next?
Yeah, that was week 1 where they lost in embarrassing fashion. That was at I forgot.
I think
that
he
was
sacked him like 2 or 3 times.
I don't
that
remember
was in Chicago.
Was that at Chicago or Lambeau Field?
I'm pretty sure it was
at Soldier Field. He's right.
It wasn't Chicago?
I'm pretty sure it was a Chicago game.
You're right. I remember it because that was the only game that was on at that point.
Overtime, too.
I think it was Sunday night.
I'll tell you what.
It was a Sunday night game.
I'm shocked you didn't mention Mike McCarthy, and not because I think he's going there, because I don't think he's going there. I think Mike McCarthy winds up in Cleveland because he makes more sense. It's a more complete team. Mm-hmm. He's more of a coach I would want with a more ready-now team than the Jets.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think the Jets should chase him with every dollar they offer.
It needs to be somebody. Yeah. It just needs to be somebody offensive mind. Because if they go for freaking Harbaugh, not John. I'm talking about if they go for freaking Jim Harbaugh from Michigan.
He's not leaving Michigan.
Yeah,
he better now. Urban Meyer's
I wouldn't even want him to come to the Jets. They need to take somebody offensive minded, and that's as long as it's somebody, at least they're trying to.
I was thinking Jim Harbaugh was the target. I would have been fine with that. And when he lost to Ohio State in week 11 of the college football season,
that's when it's a hard.
I was like, oh, he's going to be available. They're going to fire him.
But then Urban Meyer retired.
Then Urban Meyer retires, and
he should stay. I mean, he should stay. He should have definitely had a better run at Michigan. Like he's obviously choking the bed there. Like
it's just against Ohio State.
Against Ohio State, but if you're the coach of Michigan, you cannot lose to Ohio State every single time.
That's like
you cannot.
The head coach of LSU, who I don't know if you heard. I actually put in the computer his little press conference that he had to shout at people was hysterical. But that's like being the coach at LSU. Your only job is beat Alabama. Everything else is secondary.
Florida State,
Ohio State, Michigan is the #1 rivalry in sports. And if you come in thinking you're going to be a big shot coach and you cannot,
college sports, Let's say that.
I don't know. I don't know. It is the longest sports rivalry. We know that. We know that. It's definitely up there. But if Jim Harbaugh can't come in to Michigan and he cannot win a single game against Ohio State, I don't want him at the Jets.
I think because Urban Meyer is no longer at Ohio State, you just erased Harbaugh's name off the big board because now he actually has a chance to beat Ohio State.
This is a silver lining of staying. This this could finally be his chance. He's had plenty of chances before, but if he can't do it after this, then I don't know what he's going to do.
But you know what? This is going to be huge next year, though, because if he still can't beat Ohio State, I think he's coming to the NFL.
Oh my God! Yeah, he has to leave. If you can't leave, if you can't beat Ohio State right after Urban Meyer's gone, like, what are you doing there?
I don't know.
You got to leave. You got to just get out of there.
It's the curse of the greatest rivalry in sports, I guess. So, guys, that's enough football. When we come back, you're going to hear Eleanor Ciampi's voice with NHL stuff because that's what she's good at. And so are we, I guess. But this is Eleanor's show, right? And yeah, just a hockey show. So don't go anywhere. WHPC Sports Talk is coming right back.
Every sound, every note, including the bass, on this track is played by a monkey.
American Hit Radio, Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
See, I told you, I switched it up from Van Halen, and now we're back to AC/DC a little bit. This is one of my favorite songs, too, okay? I also found out that Eleanor was a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. So,
yes, very big Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And you're reading the Anthony Kiedis' book, which I didn't know that he had. But, he's like the last person I thought that would write a book. But, hopefully it's good. So, of course, this is WHPC Sports Talk. You're on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Rick Fischetti. Alongside me, I have Nick Ohrnberger.
Hi.
I have Matt Charkowick.
Hey.
Zach Calabrese.
What up?
And, of course, Eleanor Ciampi. So, Eleanor, let's just jump right into it because there is a lot of things that have happened to your Pittsburgh Penguins. So let's just start it out with that. Jake Gensel just signed an extension.
Yes.
All right? And I know that you're the biggest Genselvania fan. So the Pittsburgh Penguins signed center Jake Gensel to a 5
I have the shirt. I have the Welcome to Genselvania shirt.
Genselvania and Wensylvania if you're an Eagles fan. So they signed Jake Gensel to a 5-year contract extension with an average annual value of $6 million. The deal begins next season and will tie Gensel to Pittsburgh through the 2023-24 season. What do you think about it?
I'm so happy about it. When I saw this, I was just so excited. Jim Rutherford said that he's one of the core players for the Penguins, which I totally agree with.
I do too.
He is just so talented. He is awesome in the playoffs. That's where he succeeds, and he destroys every team in the playoffs.
I'm so happy you can just write Pittsburgh in for the playoffs right now. Yep, you're a true fan.
No, I am very happy. He's loved by Penguins fans, and he's great. He's good on the power play, and he's good defensively as well. He can back check. He can get back if he needs to. Like, he is a good all-around player.
I like him a lot. I think he's one of my favorite players to watch on the ice because whenever I see number 59 just on the ice, I'm like, okay, he's going to make something. He kind of reminds me of and for lack of a better term, because I'm thinking like that, he reminds me of a Matt Barzal that can score like a lot more. Yeah. He just spreads the ice out so much.
He's smart, and he comes from Nebraska, which is not
really
a hockey state. He went to University of Nebraska. He played on their hockey team, so
Yeah, I think it's a great move. I think like the Penguins think he's a core member of the Penguins because Crosby's not going anywhere, Malkin's not going anywhere for a while.
Kessel,
I don't think Kessel's going anywhere either.
No, I don't think so. And Letang and Gensel. I mean, that's really. Those are the players.
Yes, those are definitely players, Eleanor. And you know what? Pittsburgh is going to be a very fun team to watch in the upcoming future.
I just want to say I am not a Matt Murray fan. I do not like him, but he has played very, very well since he came back from being injured because he plays well when there's competition, and he has competition with Casey DeSmith.
So. This is called giving the devil his due. So, speaking of devils, let's talk about the state of the New Jersey Devils. What do you think about them thus far?
I don't think that they're not good. They're one of the worst teams in the East. I think Keith Kincaid is being overplayed so
He's exhausted.
much. Yeah, I don't think it's fair for him. I know that Corey Schneider is injured, but I mean, you can't.
But why wasn't there a backup plan?
I know. And Keith Kincaid is good, but he's not used to having those starting every single game. He wasn't a starter; he was a backup. So I think that he's being overplayed. You can't. I mean, Taylor Hall is the only bright spot.
And he hasn't been spectacular in any way, shape, or form this season. And I have a question for you because I want to know, do you think there is after game one of the playoffs against the Lightning this past year, the year we're currently in.
You're still right.
You get
this past season.
Do you think there was a little bit of, I don't know, after being pulled and going with Corey Schneider the rest of the way, there's a little bit of resting doubt in Kincaid, because I feel like that might have a part in this, that he doesn't feel like this has ever been fully his team.
Goalies are just a totally different breed. I mean, I live with a goalie. My brother is a goalie. Like, they are in their head so much, and you have to have a good mental game to be a successful goaltender anywhere in any league you play in, whether it's travel hockey, youth hockey, the NHL, college. You have to have a strong mental game, and I don't know if that's there for Keith Kincaid, and I think that's an issue.
I think so too.
So, yeah. And cap space is an issue for the Devils too, because they have to re-sign Nico Hischier next year. They can't let him go. So
money's green, right, Nick?
Yeah, too bad they're not going to spend it.
Hey, you like the Mets, the NHL. So let's go. Yeah. So let's go to the St. Louis Blues. What a mess, right?
I mean, they won 5 of their last 7.
Wow.
So maybe it's looking up a little bit. They're 6th in the Central right now. Neutral zone. They're horrible in the neutral zone.
They're just terrible.
That's a big issue. They beat Buffalo last night 4-1.
Yeah, Buffalo's a good team.
But yeah, so Jake Allen, I don't like Jake Allen. I think that he I really don't like him. Like, he is one of my least favorite people in the NHL. I just don't think that he's good. They're just they have so many injuries. It's just not looking good for the Blues.
Everybody's hurt.
Everybody's hurt.
There's
I don't think
timetable.
Fans aren't excited about anything, which I don't blame them.
But there's no timetable for Pietrangelo, your captain.
They're on long-term IR. It's an issue.
I mean, listen, that's why I think you're on the right track now when you say that you think Tarasenko is the first to go.
And I want to say that Robert Thomas, who's been playing for the Blues the last couple of games, he came from the London Knights. He was a London Knight. I'm a big London Knight fan. I watched him play a lot. He is so good, and he is going to be, I think, the next franchise player for the Blues.
Really?
Yes, I do.
I could see it.
Okay.
Yes.
I could see it. All right. Nice. I'm still not a fan, though. But, it's my backup. The others are bad, or they move. Who knows? I don't think they're moving, but still, they're my backup. So let's head over to the New York Rangers, who
the
lost.
only team who's almost as bad as the Devils.
Yeah.
The New York Rangers, who lost in overtime to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. I think I'm not a Rangers fan. I mean, it's rough to be a Rangers fan, I guess.
It's a tough time.
But I mean, I don't think anybody was really expecting
it's
anything.
It's not nice.
I do want to say, like, Lundqvist, I do think that he's giving his best.
Henrik Lundqvist
is probably one of the best seasons he's had.
Ripe age of 75, however old he is.
I know.
Henrik Lundqvist is my favorite Ranger. All right?
I mean, he's likable, and I think that this is one of his better seasons for where he is now. And I just want to say the World Juniors are going on. Vitaly Kravtsov, Rangers fan, follow him in the World Juniors. He is probably one of your better prospects. He's playing for Russia in the World Juniors, and Keandre Miller is playing for Team USA in the World Juniors. So.
All right, and now let's go to America's Sweethearts. They're going to be representing America when they head to Toronto on Saturday. That's going to be interesting.
That's going to be a fun game.
The New York Islanders.
Yeah, Josh Osang is in for Jordan Eberle tonight.
He hasn't been too bad either.
No,
on the first line.
No,
he has been relatively
good. Playing well. I think that he deserved his chance, and he's taking his opportunity, and I think that's great. I don't like him, but
now what is it about him that you don't like? Is it his attitude?
I think it's his attitude, and I remember we were at one of my brother's games at Iceworks, which was the old Islanders practice facility.
Yeah. I remember
and
that.
The Islanders were practicing right before. Josh Hosang left every one of his papers for his paperwork, his medical records, everything on the bleachers in a folder. My dad picked up, found it, handed it in, and I was just like, how can you be so stupid to leave all that stuff there? And I have not liked Josh Hosang since. I don't think his attitude. But Oliver Wahlstrom is playing in the World Juniors. Great Islanders prospect, and Noah Dobson is playing for Canada. So.
What do you think about Devin Taves so far?
I think he's been good.
I think he's been great.
Again, another person is getting his opportunity, and he's taking it. So,
and you know what? Who knows? Maybe the Islanders are turning a corner in terms of developing their players. Because listen,
it's a big issue.
Yeah, which has been a huge issue. But someone that I've always been on his train, and I've got a lot of flack for it. It's Michael Delco. He is doing so well in Bridgeport right now, and
he's one of the leading scorers.
And he's one of those. I feel I don't want him to end up like Ryan Strome.
And also, apparently I like big old guys, like big slow old guys. Because you remember, I don't know if you would remember. I think you're a little too young. Do you remember Oleg Kvasha?
The last name rings a bell.
He was number 12. He was the original number 12. He was one of my favorite players. Alexei Yashin, the worst captain ever. He was my favorite player. I'm trying to think of who else. I loved Yashin.
Okay.
I had a bobblehead of him for 10 years, and my dad made me throw it out because he was terrible.
I had a pecker.
He's like, I'll get you a pecker instead.
I had a pecker bobblehead.
Where are they?
And I threw his one out.
I'll never forget it. It was a Newsday one, and it was awesome. And it was before he was captain, too. He had the A on it. It was great. So That's it for hockey, but Eleanor, you're not going anywhere because I want to ask you guys, obviously the new year is right around the corner, and what an incredible year it has been. And I want to go around the room and I want to ask you, what is your favorite sports moment that happened this year? Nick, let's start with you.
The left-handed throw from Patrick Mahomes. It was a signal that this dude is a little different than most quarterbacks out there. Was it a well-conceived idea? No, but it worked. I think that was the moment that everybody turned to Patrick Mahomes and went, okay, it wasn't the moment I did, but it was certainly the moment everybody paid attention and was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I think that was my favorite moment of the year so far.
Matt, how about you?
I'm turning it over to Sin City. I got to give it to the Las Vegas Golden Knights this year.
Yeah.
What an incredible story this was. Despite the horrible mass shooting that happened earlier towards the end of 2017, I think that motivated them even further to represent that city. And it was probably, honestly, in the last couple of years, I think it's one of the most incredible sports stories in our generation.
And they retired the number of the casualties.
Yes, they did.
I think it was 58.
58,
that was
I believe.
That was the first move that they did, and my God, what a classy move.
I don't think we're ever going to see a run like that again in sports. A team that everyone written off saying this team's going to be bad for the next 5 years
playing
or so.
in the Stanley Cup final.
And going all the way to almost... They looked very good. They were
overmatched.
They were overmatched, yes. But it was nonetheless my best moment of this year, by far.
Zach, how about you?
It's got to be Jacob deGrom winning Cy Young. You know,
okay.
I'm in a bad spot as a fan right now. You know, no teams are really doing anything. So DeGrom winning the Cy Young is probably the best I'm going to get for the next 10 years.
Eleanor, how about you?
The season opener for the Humboldt Broncos in September.
Yeah.
It was their first time playing since they lost 16 of their team members in April. It was just an incredible night, so emotional, and just amazing, their strength.
That was so heartbreaking. I remember telling you the next day I saw that and I cried.
Me too.
There are so many ways that I could go. The day after the Yankees traded for Giancarlo Stanton, that is one of them. But I'm actually going to stick with the same thing as you, Matt. Right after the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, TJ Oshie, who has always been my favorite St. Louis Blue. I hated that trade when he got traded to Washington, but he got interviewed after the game, and he was talking about his dad that had, I think it was Alzheimer's, I believe.
Alzheimer's disease, yes.
That was the first time I actually, took a step back, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, right after that, I called both my parents, and I told them I loved them, but that was just one of them.
It's a beautiful thing.
Guys, I think I speak for everybody that this was a wonderful show. So from Nick Ohrnberger, from Matt Charkowick, from Zach Calabrese, from Eleanor Ciampi, I'm going to leave you with something that one of my favorite players to watch in the NHL said. And this might be a little controversial, but it goes to Alex Ovechkin. But I think it can apply to all of us. So if you'll indulge. We're not going to suck this year!